Hello and welcome to Stretford Paddock. This is the Paddock podcast, and today we are going to be looking, with all this talk about exciting futures, Mainu, Garnacho, Højlund, all of the above, we are going to be looking at Manchester United's starting 11 going forward. All three of us have come up with the starting 11 for the year 2030. Now, there's going to be carnage. You're allowed transfers, you're allowed retirements, you're allowed people coming back to the club, you're allowed all sorts of different stuff. You can pick how you want United to line up, how you think they're going to line up. Ronaldo Brown's here, how are you?
And you've got to go by senses that we were discussing as we went live.
Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? I said I can't.
I know,
you can't stitch you up like that. Do you know what I mean? I slightly mentioned it to you earlier, and I just.
I love the fact you're waiting. Like, right, let's discuss this now. Yeah, we'll have you out of it by 10 to sunshine. Don't worry.
Jay, how are you?
I'm good, bro.
You feeling optimistic about the future?
I think, this is like 1991, 92. Like, this is the darkness before the light. Yeah, we're on the cusp of. Do you know what I mean? This is Sir Matt seeing Duncan Edwards as a kid. And this is Fergie saying, who these Neville brothers and this kid from Salford and this little ginger twerp, who are these lot? Eh?
And
this is what we're on.
Who were they, sorry?
They were Ronnie Warwick and them.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're on. We're about to see an explosion of amazingness from Manchester United Football Club.
Well, I think... Shall I start? Shall I go first?
Yeah.
Just so then we can... So I'll go through my full 11 and we can critique each position, okay?
Yeah.
So this is who I think and who I expect and want to be United starting 11 in the year 2030.
So is this a mixture of all those things?
Yeah.
Or is it one or the other?
Well, no, because if it's... You could... I ain't gone like Mbappe, Lev Yashin as a 25-year-old. Like, I've not just gone what I would want if science and whatever is at my whim. I mean, I'm not reanimating like
science.
Yeah.
If science was like something I could do in that
from the 1870s, I'm not doing that.
Okay.
This is what I deem to be a semi or relatively realistic option for United. It's very realistic. I've only made 2 transfers.
2. Who are you?
That's probably not realistic enough, is it?
Claudio Ranieri.
So I've played it maybe too safe. So in goal, Onana.
Right.
So
well, straight away.
What do you mean straight away?
I think you. All right, I get it. Yeah.
Onana most definitely won't be in mine.
Right.
6 years. You think he's not?
6 years is doable. What is he? 24.
26.
26. 32 for goalkeeper. And when you see mine, I can't argue about the age.
Even.
27.
So it'll be
33 for a goalkeeper.
Right.
It depends on whether he performs well enough to get a contract renewal. When does his contract renew to?
When his contract goes? You're right. This season, it's probably 5 years. So
it depends on whether he performs well. Yeah, I think you're right.
Honest to God, because I'm thinking 6 years down the line.
I think if he gets past this summer, you'll be right.
See,
and because I think that's the question though. He has to get past this summer.
Because David De Gea was our keeper for so long, and we generally have been used to keepers being there for long term, and having quality and longevity. I think Onana's followed up, facing quite a lot of scrutiny. Is keeping for a team in United that are going through transition, are a little bit more leaky defensively, and obviously his performances are under more of a microscope. But from what he's shown so far since his arrival. He has been shaky enough where I would be quite hesitant or quite sceptical about him making it to 2030 at Manchester United.
I mean, I disagree with everything you've said there. I think that
I love it.
No, I don't really. I think he's been all right. I do think he's talented though, and I do think that we stick with keepers if they're anything other than garbage. We tend to stick with them. At times he has been garbage, that's the problem. But I think there's a very good goalkeeper there, and I think he suits the style of play that we're going to want to play going forward longer term. Not just like, he's got this one thing that only suits Ten Hag. Goalkeepers who can pass are wanted across Europe. It's not just, he's a bit specific in case Ten Hag leaves. I think a good passing keeper who's shot stopping, unless he's making a terrible mistake like he has made a few, unfortunately, his shot stopping is quite good. It's like above average. His numbers are above average. So I think that there's a good keeper in there. It's just that consistency, which I think you'll find in the seasons to come. So there you go.
Nah, I kind of agree to a certain extent. I just feel that I feel like the summer will be the make or break. So I genuinely do. I think for him and the manager, I think the manager might end up moving on.
Yeah. And
I think new manager might come in and go, I can't rely on this guy. He's one of the reasons I'm replacing the old manager.
It's so
that's very possible.
That happens a lot as well because he's obviously. He was mostly a Ten Hag signing, because he had a decent season at Inter Milan. He had he got all the plaudits that for his performances in the Champions League, especially. So that kind of obviously accelerated his value.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ten Hag's obviously played with him before, so he's probably the one that said, "Yeah, go get Onana. He's really good with his feet. We're going to be this great build-up team." None of that really materialised in terms of our build-up, and obviously a lot of that was hampered with the fact we didn't have Martinez, because you see the difference he makes in the back line. But not even just Martinez, Luke Shaw as well, two of our most technically secure players, probably in the whole of United's first phase, to be honest. And without them both, we've really, really struggled, and we've had to launch the ball upfield quite a lot. And I don't think we've actually seen the best of Onana's distribution so far, and that is meant to be one of his almost like...
That's his best thing.
That's meant to be his almost selling trait.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Where a lot of his value comes, but as of now, he's been underwhelming.
Next up, Jeremy Frimpong.
Oh,
Popping
yes.
right back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's because we've been linked with him.
Yeah.
He was at City, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So he knows Manchester. He knows how shit.
And what could go wrong when you buy
City
a player that used to be at City who knows Manchester?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sancho.
That went to the Bundesliga and ripped it up.
Bundesliga.
It's like, it's a guarantee of success. Nah, I hear you though.
But he looks very exciting. I think wherever he goes after Bayer Leverkusen, assuming he does leave, it's going to be for big money, and it's going to be for a team that thinks they're buying one of the better right backs in the world.
Yeah.
I know he's not maybe at that level yet, but I'm talking after this season, especially if they win the Bundesliga, his stock's going to go through the roof even more than it already has. If he stays there another year, who knows how he'll progress, but he looks sensational. I think it's an area that United are a little bit weak at the minute. Into midfield, I've got Martinez in there. I think he'll still be here. He's only 26 years old, 25 years old, sorry, isn't he? How old is Lisandro Martinez? 26. He'll be 32. Perfect. Good age for him.
I would have... I'm not trying to spoil mine, but I've not got Martinez in because obviously he'll be up there and he'll be at an age where he still can be an elite centre half. But I took into account the injuries that he's been picking up and whether that may kind of hamper his longevity.
Slow him down a bit. Well, he's just on that. In the last sort of hour or so, it's been sort of revealed that he hasn't done his ACL.
Yeah, because when you said ACL,
and he's done a spray. He's supposedly sprained a ligament in his knee, and United expect him to be back after the March international break. So you're looking at 6 weeks or so.
I wasn't obviously on the watch along. I was behind the camera. When you did say ACL, I didn't want to shout from the cheap seats. It didn't look like an ACL, but it did look like the inside of the knee. The way that it bent, I thought it would have been an MCL.
Yeah.
But
where's that coming from? Sorry, this information.
That's from a couple of different sources. One of which is Fabrizio Romano. So I would assume that is the case.
He's looking at 2 months-ish.
Gaston Edul as well, who's a journalist based out of Argentina, I think. He's tweeted the same thing, and I believe Romano did tweet the same thing before. But I think
Romano's aggregated it from that Argentinian.
Okay. But you'd assume if Romano's tweeting it, he'll have double checked the source. You would hope and assume. The club haven't announced that yet, but
just annoying, isn't it, man? It's annoying anyway because he's at Villa this weekend.
Yeah,
that we need him for that. I know he's never going to be ready for that, but
he's at Villa Park as well.
Yeah.
No surgery needed either.
I mean, that's a positive.
Yeah.
But it's annoying that the kid's played, 6 games this season or whatever, or 7 games or whatever. Not a lot, anyway.
Next to Martinez in 2030, I can't see past Johnny Evans.
Nah, I hear that. I was tempted to do that myself.
I think he'll go again.
Yeah.
I think we'll let him go at the end of this season.
Yeah.
Then a new manager comes in. We're struggling, we're floundering. Someone gets injured.
Get Johnny Evans in.
Get Johnny back. So he'll only be 42 as well.
Nah,
which is still young enough to be an elite level centre back.
Stanley Matthews.
Yeah. How old was he? 50.
Yeah, he's 50 when he stopped playing.
Exactly. And football's hasn't changed since then. We've only had one world war since then. And I think personally that football's exactly how it was then. Johnny Evans and Martinez. And also I think that works. You'll have the age and experience of Martinez and the age and experience of Evans right next to each other. I've gone for Destiny Udogie at left back.
From
Spurs. If you get a point from Spurs.
We love a little cheeky Spurs signing.
That's what I'm on about. That's what I knew. At some point in the next 6 years, we are going to nick an asset from Spurs. It might be the manager. It might even be these days a CEO or a sporting director or something like that. I think it's going to be the left back. I think he's a big guy.
I rate a doggy.
Strong, fast, 6'2". We saw what he did to. Was it Anthony? Garnacho.
Yeah. Because he must be strong because he picked him up with one arm.
Yeah.
In the box.
Yeah. He should have given a foul away. But I do think that he's just a very sort of physical, very fast just a good left back who, depending kind of on, don't give me that. So I know what you're doing there, and you can fuck off because he is. Don't give me this.
I tried to just ignore him, right? I just think I saw what he was doing. I ignored it because I thought you're gonna get a bit.
Explain it then.
Do you know what I mean? And I knew it was a joke that
trying to make me look a bad guy.
you might not like or appreciate. So there's this trait, right?
He was sounding like an academy director from the
80s. He's strong, he's physical, he's quick, aggressive, he's muscular. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And then you've got some other players.
We need more of those lads.
Yeah, we've got more of them lads. And then you've got the skillful lads.
Yeah.
But your blonde hair, blue eye boys who can pass a bit.
The smart lads.
He is.
Yeah, the clever lads.
He is genuinely big and fast. He is. So I think he's the sort of fullback as well that would suit a lot of different managers because he's decent on the ball, but he's always going to have those attributes as well.
I never want to say anything to Ronnie and look similar way.
Well, as soon as he looked after you, and I was like, I can't not.
This is the only time I've ever literally ignored him on a live. I just thought I'm not going down that road.
I didn't. He had to bring attention to it as well.
He just left it.
I was trying to allow it.
He knew what was going on. That might have made it look worse.
What do you make of him? Do you like him? You spoke about him earlier in the season, Ronaldo. You liked him then. Do you still like him?
He's only 20 years old, isn't he?
Yeah, that's obviously the main reason.
Breaking onto the scene in Italian football.
Like
I think he looks top
even when
quality.
we're terrible, we can still get big players from big clubs in this country.
Yeah.
Like even in our rubbish days, we've still got Sanchez from Arsenal, and okay, that's about it recently. But
yeah,
it happens.
It does happen, and I think he's a good player. And again, he's 21, so we've got to think to the future. He'll be 27 years old, just hitting that prime. I think he's the sort of player United could get. Next on midfield, I've just gone for it.
I think me and you are gonna end up with a very similar team.
I've gone just fucking double Fletchers. I've gone Jack and Tyler Fletcher.
Ours is very serious. Ours is very similar.
And Kobe Mainoo.
Okay, I like this.
There's your midfield. Straight from the academy. Darren Fletcher's sons, Jack and Tyler Fletcher, both as highly regarded now as Darren was when he was coming through. And Fergie wanted to play him when he was 15, didn't he? But he wasn't allowed to. These two are meant to be fantastic. I think it's just against the rules.
You can play when you're 15.
Nah, I think you've got to be at least 16. I'm pretty sure.
Shit, I need to change my team.
Who have you got? Oh, I know what you've got. So
I'll change it in my head. I know what to do.
But the under-18s, I think you're going to talk about a bit more, aren't you, Ronaldo? But the under-18s have been just absolutely flying this year. They've almost gone under the radar.
14 out of 14?
Yeah, because United's been so bad, the first team. It's going under the radar that this might be the best under-18 squad we've had in
years.
Nearly 30 years or something.
Imagine that. Imagine some of the squads we've had in the last 30 years or whatever. Not just obviously the class of 92, no class of 92 is over 30 years, but you look at that team that had Pogba, had Ravel, had the Keane brothers, had Lingard in it. Then you look at more recently the FA Cup winners, you had Garnacho, you had Mainoo. We've had some good academy teams. Then there was the other little period where they didn't really win what they should have done, but you had Chong, you had Gomez, you had Mason, you had a good sort of group of players that everyone was raving about that went on to do, have all carved out a career in various forms. So when you talk about this being the best team we've had in years, that's a heady compliment. But I get you, because everyone's saying that. Everyone's looking at usually in the past with United teams, like the academy teams, ever since I've been watching them, you've had, what made the class of 92 quite different was the fact that you had so many of them that were good. You usually have 3 or 4 who will go, you know what, Pogba's different, Lingard's different, Ravel's different, and then you might have Tunnicliffe and a few others who are good, but not. But it seems like, from what I've not watched loads of the academy team, I'm not going to pretend that I have, but it seems like this team, you've got a lot of good players.
And it's the timing of it. Almost feels like Carrington's coming out to save United at a time where we have been so poor and so underwhelming in the transfer market.
You just called it Le Carrington, by the way. Did you actually just say that? Is that a La Mesa reference there? United don't have a sort of long history of bringing through academy players.
I think it just sounds fancy when you say Le Carrington.
I didn't bat an eyelid there. I thought I was very good. Le Carrington.
They should be calling theirs.
Go on.
Caramasa, mate.
Caramasa.
You know what I mean?
Nah,
Carrington.
No, but then again, it's up to United to make sure that the pathway for these talented youngsters that are there now is there, because in the under-18s now, and even there's some 15, 16-year-olds, some 17, 18-year-olds as well. I've just basically described youth football.
Yeah.
Some of them look like they can be pretty special, and some of them look like they can be on the cusp of breaching first-team football at those tender ages. And if they are top quality, as you've seen with Kobe Mainoo, a Kobe Mainoo through the academy ends up saving you how much as a club? Because now Kobe Mainoo is probably a 50, 60, 70 million pound midfielder in terms of transfer value.
Get the right person the first time.
Yeah, exactly.
The amount United waste on players, it's easy. It could be 100 million looking for a player like him for the next 10 years.
How hard is it, Ronnie? You've been in that situation at an academy team for a Premier League club where, you know, you look around the team, you probably think, yeah, everyone's mint. How hard is it to actually get into that first team squad from the academy? We're signing a lot of my team academy graduates, but I might have to rethink it because obviously
it's a lot of. I think you can tell though, because there's still differences. You're all academy players. You're all good enough to be there, but there's some people that just are a little bit of a level up.
Could you tell that when you was playing? Could you look at 1 or 2 and go, he looks like he's gonna make
you can tell.
And were you right?
Yeah, pretty much. Apart from one player, which I thought was destined to be like go to the very, very, very top, and he didn't. But I feel like
have a good career.
He's the best player I've ever played with, I reckon. But he didn't even make it professional.
Really?
Not sure what happened. I think it might have been just like height, but he was quite physical. He's called Anas Abdo. He's Yemenis. I don't know if, not to speculate, but I don't know whether once because he left Liverpool as well, and he went to Bolton. But
what was his name? Sorry.
Anas Abdo.
Right.
He never actually made it professional, but he was top.
It's mad that because I was watching. Was it Filthy of the Week and he was Anton Ferdinand, so about the best player he ever saw. I think his name was James Allen or something.
He didn't make it.
I googled him and I looked and he just didn't happen for him. Was in the academy and then from what I could gather, unless I'm mistaken, didn't get a. And he was saying like he was the one out of the team that everyone was like.
There's a lot of luck and there's a lot of things that have to go your way as well.
Yeah.
And you've almost got to be. I think academy directors etc. are very clever. They do see and notice a player by the time they're 9, 10 years old, whether they feel like they want to force a pathway for them to the first team.
You can see.
And they'll put everything in place for that to happen.
Yeah.
And the player either makes the best of it or they don't, but they do whatever they can. And there could be players that might be a little bit better at a different stage that won't get that same type of push. But yeah. But that's generally what happened. But I think Anas Abdo was the best player I've ever played with, and he never made it professionally.
I remember when I went to watch the academy, I think, if memory serves, it was the year after Pogba and Ravel and all them, or it might have been that year. We played Chelsea in the semi-finals of the FA Youth Cup. It was either that year or the year after, memory says. And there's a kid called, I think his name was Josh McEachran. It was
Chelsea.
Yeah,
he went to Swansea though, innit?
Yeah, but he was the one that everyone was raving about. He's gonna. I know he had a. You know, he didn't do nothing, but he was the one. He was like Pogba levels of. This is the kid who's gonna go all the way. Everyone, even as a United fan, you were sat here looking forward to seeing this kid that had been raved about, and everyone was talking about him. This lad that Chelsea have got, who's gonna be the new big thing. And obviously, like you say, I think he did. You know, he's not like he didn't do anything. But he was the one that everyone was like Joe Cole levels as the only other player as watching the opposition that I can compare it to. Because remember when Joe Cole came for West Ham, everyone was raving about him, and you know it was like he was going to be the next big thing.
I think it matters a lot. He
do very well.
Who's the manager for the first team when you're at that age as well? Because you look at someone like Scott McTominay, he's lucky that Jose was the one who was United's manager, who likes. When he really came through, who likes big, tall, sort of strong midfielders, strong players, 6'3", 6'4", whatever he is. If it had been a different manager, it might have been Dimitri Mitchell or someone, or James Wilson who got that call up instead. Or and obviously it depends on injuries and stuff as well. But like,
but then you've got to make the most and stay there.
Of course, I'm not knocking Scott McTominay, but you know, Angel Gomez could have got that play time if it was a manager who emphasised more on sort of skill and passing ability and that sort of stuff that Angel Gomez has got.
See how he flips it now.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you've got your big
Angel it's like Scott McTominay is your physical big. Like Angel Gomez is your skillful one. He's got.
I'm telling the truth.
Yeah,
isn't it?
What's your front?
I'm not being clouded by racism.
What's your front three now?
My front three, just quickly, is Rashford, Højlund, Garnacho. I'm sticking with that.
Ooh.
I mean, I think in real life, the odds of us not changing our front line for the next 6 years is almost zero, just because of look at the last 6 years. But we've seen it in the past. We saw Scholes and Keane for 6 years. We saw Neville and Rio for more than 6 years.
You think Rashford at 32 will still be the starting left winger for Manchester United at 32 years old?
Yeah.
I don't think you thought that one through.
I have thought it through. But before we carry on.
Yeah.
Actually, no. What do you think to that front three first?
I have to agree with Ronnie. I don't often say this, but I do. I don't think... I love Rashford. I generally do, and I've been buzzing to see him get back amongst the goals, and hopefully we can move on from the whole nonsense about him going on a bit of a bender. But I don't see him playing on that left wing till he's 32 years old.
Really?
I think if he does end up staying in the first team, he might have to change his game a little bit. I remember Chucky saying he wouldn't be surprised because he coached Rashford when he was a kid. He brought him through. If you look at the pictures of Rashford signing his first deal with United, Chucky's in that picture, and he said he thought he could end up as a midfielder. I don't know about that, but I don't see him as a left winger.
I know the level in the consistency is not the same, but Salah will be 32 at the start of next season. He's still going to be starting for Liverpool, isn't he? I know the body style is very different as well, which helps. I think Salah's like
I don't know. Like Salah's like a pretty much almost a generational Hall of Fame Premier League winger. Yeah. Rashford isn't. So it's like it's not as well.
Rashford by that time will have had 15 years at the top. And you know, playing a lot of games, having a lot of injuries as well. Yeah. I know he's come through them, but he's had some
Salah,
injuries, Rashford, hasn't he? And I hope you're right, because if he's still in the first team for 6 years, that means he's been doing something right for 6 years. He might even have an outside chance of getting that goal scoring record. I just don't see it.
What's Rashford's greatest asset though? It's pace, and I feel like the moment he loses a bit of that, I don't think there's much else to his game.
And I'm not saying you're wrong, because I agree with you. It does tend to happen in early 30s. But you look at most of the best sort of sprinters. A lot of sprinters are still hitting PBs into their early to mid 30s. I know it's single line. 100 metres isn't the same as football and the turning.
Yeah, it's too different to compare, I reckon.
But,
do you know what I mean?
But you don't actually lose pace and power until
and
you're
also
late 30s.
prime years for athletes that are sprinters are generally mid to early 20s. They obviously can sometimes get a PB later on, but the majority of their sustained sprinting best timed is mid 20s or later. When they get older, it's definitely not as much, and usually if they are quicker at that point, they get slammed with PDs at some point or something along them lines.
I tell you what, I mean, it's not a drug, but something that definitely enhances my performance, Jay, is today's sponsor, Manscaped.
Yes.
Yeah? Talk to me about Manscaped, Jay.
Well, it's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's the most revolutionary ball trimmer the world has ever seen. We have been waiting for this, like Manchester United wait for a new signing in the summer. It is the Performance Package Ultra 5.0. Forget about the 4.0, and I never thought I'd utter those words, because we all know the 4.0 was the creme de la creme.
Well, the 4.0 made you the man you are today, didn't it?
It did. Without the 4.0, I haven't got any kids or a missus. Yeah, that's a fact.
And I think with the 5.0, that will make you
more kids and more missuses.
The man or woman you are tomorrow.
100%.
I think two or three wives.
Yeah.
60, 70 kids.
Minimum. Yeah. Because
to as many different lovers.
Exactly. Because I'm actually going to have to explain this when I get home.
Who to? Your phalanx of partners?
Because it's not just the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra that you get with the performance package. You also get some of your staples, some of the things that you like, some of the things that you're used to. The Weed Whacker for your nose and your ear hair.
The Weed Whacker 2.0, Jay, because that's been upgraded as well.
That's what I mean. So you've got that, but you've got the Weed Whacker, you've got the Crop Preserve, you've got the Crop Toner, you've got the Shed Travel Bag, you've got the Boxer Briefs, you've got all those things that you like, that you know, all got the skin-safe technology, because that is important.
And the great thing about the 5.0 trimmer as well is it's got two blades now. So that's the big upgrade. That's the big difference. Two different interchangeable blades. One is a standard one for taking bits off the top, just lowering the sort of hedges a little bit. Yeah. And then you've got the foil blade for taking things down to the nubby. Okay? Yes. And with, you see there, the code DEVILS20, you get 20% off and free shipping at checkout. I use it every single time for, I don't even know, the last, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
I've trimmed my nuts. It's been Manscaped.
You have.
And I tell you what, I've had less complaints than you've got,
Go on.
Follicles on your head.
Well, that is no complaints then, basically.
Exactly. Wait, are you trying to let the audience know your sample size for those complaints?
No one's seen it.
Go and check out the code in the go and check out the link in the description. Use the code Devils20, 20% off and free shipping. You get the Performance Package 5.0, which features the Lawnmower 5.0, the Weed Whacker, the Crop Preserve, the Crop Toner, all that good stuff. Your balls will thank you, and a big thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring this podcast.
Let's go through your team now, Ronaldo.
Go on, Ronaldo.
And what I think you should do for this one, just to change it up a bit, go through the whole team, and then we'll comment on it at the end.
All right, then.
All right, yeah. So
we get it all out, so we can hear it.
All right, so I'd say my 2030 Manchester United team will be Eli Harrison in goal. I will go from right back. I'll have Arnau Martinez, the young right back from Girona. Yeah. And I'll have Lenny Yoro from the centre back from Lille, the 18-year-old.
I like that name. That sounds like a bloke who sells scratch cards.
New phenom
on the continent.
And then next to him, I will have Jared Braithwaite as the left centre half from Everton. And left back, I will have the young 16-year-old kid that is flying, but he'll be around 22 by the time it's 2030 anyway. Yeah, is Harry Amas from the 18s. And then I will go for our CDM. I will go for Moscardo, who's basically the Declan Rice regen that PSG have bought, but I reckon they won't hold on to him forever. And I think United will sign him.
Go full and Kunku with him. Yeah,
he's like a Brazilian Declan Rice. Oof. So with a little, and he's only 17, with a little bit more flair to his game, and I think by the time that he'll be 23, 24 in 2030, I think he'll be one of the best midfielders in the world. Yeah. And the two midfielders with him will be Kobe Mainoo and Jack Fletcher.
Yeah.
So Jack Fletcher, Kobe Mainoo and Moscardo as the midfield three. And from a forward three, I actually went for Højlund up front.
Yes.
Left wing, Kvara.
From
Napoli.
Yeah.
He'll be 28, 27, 28. And then right wing, I've gone for Shea Lacey.
Oh. Ooh. The first thing that strikes me with that is not a single player is over the age of 30.
Yeah.
Do you think that you can win a title or win trophies, hopefully, which we're trying to go for, with an average age of about 25? And not just an average age, no one over 30.
If Arsenal,
no older players in there.
If Arsenal do it this season, then it's possible.
Have they not got anyone over 30?
I'm pretty sure Arsenal's average age of their squad's still one of the youngest.
Yeah.
And they had the second youngest team on average last season and just lost out to City. So I think it is definitely, and also I'm thinking about how basically good stead that the team will be in at that period. Yeah. When if they don't necessarily win it in 2030, they could win it in 2031.
That's true.
I'm not thinking of quick success. I'm not going for the Jose Mourinho.
It's quick success. This is 6 years away.
No, but I'm saying at that point you don't know the situation.
We're in a rebuild then.
Yeah.
After 10 hours,
I don't think that squad I've mentioned will be a rebuild squad. I think it will be a challenging squad.
You do.
But also it's because if I was a director of football, I'll be building a squad that won't just be challenging for the now. That'll be challenging for the next 5-10 years.
Talk to me
about... I was thinking of making the team dynastic, and I think that is the way the team will be dynastic, where the team's full of quality and enough to be a challenger, but is young enough to keep that high level of quality year in, year out. Yeah.
Talk to me about Harry Amas, because he's very highly rated, isn't he? 16,
he's
left back.
He's very highly rated.
Next Luke Shaw.
16, that's what he's been touted as the next Luke Shaw. Some people are actually speculating that the reason why United was so willing to let Alvaro Fernandez go for left back is because they've got an eye on Harry Amas and his progression into the first team from left back, and they think that he's actually got a bit of a higher potential and a higher ceiling than Alvaro Fernandez does. And I'm pretty sure that he is an academy prospect in terms of United, but United I believe they bought him from Watford.
Right, yeah, I think you're right.
I think Chelsea wanted him, and then United got him, and then he's 16 years old, and he's been flying and showing a good level of quality going forward, but also very good defensively. But one thing that does stand out about him is his passing ability as well. He's a top player, and he's getting a lot of plaudits at the moment, and I think by the time he's 22, 23, I think he'll be a serious player.
I think the Luke Shaw comparison comes from, not quite the same, but he's got if you want to imagine him, a similar-ish body type, hasn't he? Yeah. Slightly squat, sort of low centre of gravity.
If he'll grow a bit, maybe.
Yeah, he might do. Short. I think, but he's not. If you're trying to imagine in my head, if you've not seen him, he's not sort of tall and lanky or really skinny. He's quite robust already for a 16-year-old, but not particularly tall. I know Luke Shaw's actually deceptively tall, isn't he? He's like 5'11", but that's I think why he's got those comparisons a little bit. Yeah. But he's one of the sort of players from the under-18s that's really highly talked about, isn't it?
Yeah, he is. Because a lot of people mention the likes of Shea Lacey and Ibrahimov, and these two players are like 16, 15, and they're not like solidified under-18s players. They do feature for them and they do perform well, but obviously they're a little bit younger than the 18s. They're just playing up because they're that good. Yeah. So there's other players in the United 18s team that are top quality, like Ethan Wheatley and other players, but you're not going to assume that everyone from the under-18s is going to make it to the United first team and excel. So academy football is, the nature of it is, there could be 5, 6, 7, 8 top quality players in the 18s right now amongst the other people that people see as future potential superstars. But realistically, it's Manchester United, the size of the club, the ability to dip into the transfer market and buy players for 50, 60, 70 million. Not everyone's going to make it at Manchester United. And the transition from youth football to first team football isn't always that linear. Some people are really good at academy football. When they go to first team football, it doesn't suit them. Some people are decent at academy football, and their game and their profile just translates very well to the men's game. So when I'm mentioning players like Shea Lacey and Ibrahimov, even though he didn't make my team, I think they're the ones that have the highest ceiling. So it's the players with the highest ceiling that I'm going to pick in the 2030 team, because they're potentially world-class players right now, and whether they feel that potential remains to be seen, but I hope that they do.
The other one that stood out, obviously, Kvara, or Kvaratskhelia, is probably the big signing of your team.
I think
when's that happening?
I think Jared Braithwaite and Lenny Oro will be quite big money signings as well, but I think Kvara would be the most expensive. I'm hoping that he will be a little bit cheaper, because obviously his stock was the most highest at the end of last season when Napoli were one of the best teams in Europe, and he was getting double-digit goals and assists in all competitions last season. He's not quite at the same level of form as last season, but he's still been good, and quality's permanent anyway. Obviously, you say class is permanent, form is temporary. I just think Napoli as a whole teamwork and framework haven't been as great as last season anyway. And from when I watched him, I thought he had the ability to, when he does step up and go to a bigger club, when I'm talking about the likes of obviously United, a City, a Liverpool and Arsenal, a Juve, AC Milan, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico, that kind of caliber way, he does play with even better players, higher stakes. I think his game and quality, I kind of fell in love with him as a player last season. I think at 28 years old, when he's refined at the peak of his powers, because he's still only 22.
Yeah, that is mad.
You know what I mean? I think he will still be one of the best left wingers in the world. Kvara realistically is like a Jack Grealish with even just a little bit more quality.
Yeah, a bit more pace.
And a bit more pace as well.
Big
compliment to play. What are the comments saying, man?
And
a lot of people talking about, obviously, some of the academy players. People talking about Kai Rooney and Ronaldo Jr.
Nice.
Any thoughts on that?
Yeah.
People saying Rafael Leao.
Yeah.
Leao will be 30 at that point.
Perfect.
But, which is not the wrong possibility.
Could happen.
Go on then, Jay. Let's start with yours.
Mine's a bit of a mixture of both of yours, you know.
Is it?
Like, genuinely.
Have you got any original thought whatsoever in there?
I've got Bayern Dale in goal.
He pulled out the notes on that.
Yeah. Because
I thought you were going to put on glasses next.
No.
1 sec.
Bayern Dale, I don't know about Onana. I like the kid. I don't know if it's going to work out for him. And I think there might be a pathway where Bayern Dale keeps getting his chance, takes it. I know he's only played one game against Newport and he conceded 2 goals, so it's not like we're going to say he's done it already. But there could be a chance there for him, because he's still only relatively young. I think he'll be in his early 30s by the time this comes around. Left back, I've gone with Tyrell Malacia.
You're joking.
Why not?
Well, I'll tell you.
Right, go on.
Because he doesn't start now ahead of Luke Shaw, even when he's not injured.
Yeah.
He's had been out for about 9 months with an injury that who knows how much that's going to affect him. He doesn't seem that great as a player, and we'll have had 6 years to replace him.
Whilst all that is valid, there's always a player that people give up on.
That's true.
They always say, like you mentioned, Darren Fletcher before now. Fergie wanted to put him in the team when he was. I remember people giving up on Fletcher when he was a kid. When he got into that first team and he was playing on the right wing, and people saying he's Fergie's love child and all the rest of it. And I'm not saying Tyrone Manasseh is as good as Darren Fletcher.
Saying he's Ten Hag's love child.
Yeah, but I think there's always a player that surprises you. So I went for a surprise one, and I think Tyrone Manasseh, people giving up on him, saying, "Oh, he ain't gonna make it." I think he's a player. You never know. It's a left field one. I get that, but stranger things have happened, so I've gone with him. I've gone with Kwambala and Reece Munro as my centre back pairing.
Are they from youth football?
Yeah. I mean,
gone for Big Willie.
Yeah, Big Willie at the back. Reece Munro's obviously a lot of the academy players just getting raved about, and it's very difficult to pick one.
Impossible.
Because when you look at the academy team, right, there's always one you think. I used to do it when I used to watch. I think, like the class of '92, there was like players like Simon Davis and I think Ben Thornley and players like that who, for injury or form or whatever, just don't make the grade. In the Pogba team, there was like Ryan Tunnicliffe. I thought was mint, didn't make it. So it's difficult to know.
Yeah.
But there's ones you can think have a decent chance. We'll see. I've gone with the same as I think it was one of you two went with Frimpong at right back.
Yeah.
I've gone.
No, I didn't go for Frimpong.
How come? Why didn't you go for Frimpong? Just don't think we'll get him, or don't think he's good enough?
I don't see him at United.
Fair enough.
Where do you see him?
Barcelona, Bayern, that type of club.
If he keeps doing well in Leverkusen, then Bayern Munich will be right on him because they love buying their rivals, don't they? Midfield, I've gone with Mainu, Bellingham, and then Cole Palmer.
Yes, man. That's what I like it.
I knew Jay
coming in. The big bucks transfers.
Right.
So I was just looking at United's team that started against Wolves, which is the closest thing we've had to our first choice. 8 of those 11 are transfers. 8 of those 11 are bought in. So I think we've gone too heavy on the academy players.
Like, thing is, United buy and we buy big. We do buy big, and we buy from our other Premier League teams, and we buy for money that other clubs will go. Now we're not doing that. And I know it's a new era with Ineos and all that. We'll still end up buying it. We've done it since I've been a United fan. Whether that's Brian Robson breaking a transfer record, Roy Keane breaking a transfer record, Rio Ferdinand breaking a transfer record, or I don't know, who else have we done it with? Paul Pogba breaking a transfer record. Historically, we do it. So I wouldn't be surprised if we went out there and eventually when Jude Bellingham wants to come back and Real Madrid are like, well, it's going to cost you 140 million to get him, we go, yeah, why not?
You know what's funny? He's going to say he's a starting 11 and mine's going to actually have more transfers than his.
That's probably true.
Okay.
These are like big boy names.
Also, Cole Palmer, Withenshaw, he's a red. Why not? What more do you want?
Honestly, Cole Palmer, I feel like could play for United.
I do.
I do think that.
My mate knows him as well. Knows his family. My mate's missus relates to him. So.
and what's she been giving it the?
Having a word and that. Well, I hope so.
She's heard rumour.
Yeah. She's like whispering in his ear and that. On the left, I've gone with Gabriel Martinelli.
I'll see you.
Coming back, he's got unfinished business, right? He had his trial. He had 2 trials, didn't he? Didn't work out. He'll have enough of that little poxy club called Arsenal. He'll want to come back to United to prove the doubters. Right, RVP, he came here, won a title. Sanchez didn't really work out for. Frank Stapleton won an FA Cup. He's going to be following in their footsteps.
Do you think that he's good enough?
By that time, he will be.
How highly do you rate Martinelli?
Not very, but he'll get better. Over the next 5 years, he'll blossom and then we'll get him. His contract's will end and we'll go, yeah, come here. And he'll be like, yeah, do you know what?
So we've got Martinelli on a free.
Yeah.
We've already said we paid 140 for Bellingham.
Yeah.
How much do we pay for Cole Palmer? Chelsea are probably bankrupt by then.
By that time, you're getting Cole Palmer for the vending machine.
Yeah. Also, you're
just paying for their petrol because of skin.
Yeah, we're buying them over the next 6 years.
Yeah,
We're buying them all.
Spaced out.
You could get Cole Palmer in 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. So I've gone with that. I've gone with Shea Lacey on the right, and I've stuck with Hoyland. The only reason I've not stuck with Garnacho is I don't see him staying at United forever, and I hope he does. But I don't see it happening. Also, I agree with you on Rashford. I love Marcus, but I don't see him sticking in the team till he's 32.
I also people might not like. I reckon I can see Garnacho being a player that we sell to like Atletico or Real Madrid or Barca by the time he's 25, 26, where he'll be like a decent solid player for us. Maybe he becomes even better. I think if he gets a little bit stronger physically.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to be good enough at United where he'll still be in the team around 20, 28, 29, probably a pivotal part, maybe a starting 11 player, maybe not, depends what we actually need at the time. And I feel like we do end up selling him for a decent amount of money at that time. When he's just before his peak, and I feel like one club of that ilk, maybe like an Inter Milan, AC Milan, Juve comes and buys him. I don't see Garnacho being at United for like 6-7 years from now.
Also, as well, I think United usually change the team quite a lot.
Yeah.
Like if I was just looking then on the 2018 FA Cup final team, there's no one in it that's still here. I think Marcus is the only one. Sorry, I think. I think it is. It's just Marcus.
Yeah.
He's the only one who is still let alone playing at the club.
Yeah.
So you do see a lot of turnover at Manchester United. Now, hopefully, we have a bit more stability now, which obviously you might not see that because you didn't always see that on the Fergie. But I do think there's not going to be 5 or 6 players that are playing now that you're still going to see in the first team in 2030. I just don't see that.
Because we're banking on Garnacho improving. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously he's still look how well he's playing recently. I'm seeing different parts of his games that he's starting to improve actually a little bit in terms of his ball retention. There's still sometimes a little bit of naivety in his game. Sometimes I feel like he's brushed off the ball a little bit too much, whether he can get a little bit more physical. But I'm just thinking of at Manchester United, the level that Garnacho is at now, how much does he need to improve to make sure that United don't go and buy a 50, 60 million pound replacement within 2-3 years?
That's true.
Because that's how the game is now, especially at a big club.
Yeah, that's true. Whose team do you think is the best out of them 3?
Mine, comfortably.
But all of your players are currently 16 years old, so no one can prove how good they are.
I've got Jude Bellingham in the middle of my midfield.
You've exaggerated that.
Yeah,
I told you. I don't think you actually. I don't think you listened to my team.
I did listen.
Do you know what I mean? Because
there's no one over 30. I've got someone who's 42 in mine. That's fucking brilliant. That's better. That's good.
I think I've got the best midfield.
Yeah.
Mainu, Bellingham, and Palmer.
We don't know whether Palmer will be arsed by then.
I think he'll be good.
Bellingham will be class.
He's all right.
Bellingham, Mainu, and Palmer.
Yeah.
I don't think Mainu's going to be a 6.
We don't need a 6 by 2030. The game's
Football,
evolved.
yeah. Football's
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you've got Kumbwala and Monroe behind you don't need it.
And what was he forward for again? Martinelli,
Højlund, and Lacer.
Martinelli is such a shit person to buy. He's fucking shit.
Nah, he's gonna get better. He's not shit.
He's a slightly above average winger.
Mo Salah had worse numbers than Martinelli's got now when he was 22, whatever he is, 23.
Yeah, but...
Do you know what I mean? Like, not everyone is a star at 22, 23.
I think your back 4 isn't as good as mine, but I think the rest of your team probably can be an argument. But I think my team at 2030, if there was some way that it could be looked back upon when it does get to 2030.
Yeah, we'll bring
there is a way, because we'll just wait till 2030 and look back on it.
And then you look at, and then you go through what
No,
that's
Jay,
literally the way we'll do it.
Reflection will be banned by the government.
Well, in some way, we could
forward.
go 6 years into the future and then look back on this. We can't. We just have to wait 6 years.
Obviously, I don't like doing that sometimes. You don't know, anything can happen in life. Just go alive still and that. Do you know what I mean?
Hope you're still alive. You're only 25, aren't you?
Yeah.
Nah, well, you'll be fine. We'll look back on this in 2030 and you'll realise that not only was I accurate in my 11, but we're winning everything.
Who will be the manager then? That's the last question. Who's managing your side? Who do you think will be the United manager in the few years to come?
Probably Hodgson.
Or Neil Warnock.
Yeah. One of them two.
We just got a Ouija board in the dugout.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Don't put him through that. Jesus Christ. To be honest, Roy Hodgson at the age of 40 trying to manage Man United would be look how much it ages people. He ain't got it left.
Nah, he hasn't, to be fair.
He hasn't got enough years left for you to be sort of shortening his lifespan.
Do you know what it might be? It might be someone like Kieran McKenna or someone coming back.
Ross Murphy, Kieran McKenna.
I was going to say Michael Carrick.
Yeah, do you know what? It could be. Because they're still young men. If they do all right at the clubs they're at, which they are, you know, I know Carrick's had his issues, but McKenna's smashing it.
Someone said...
Go on.
Fucking hell. Someone said Roy Hodgson is Benjamin Button, so it's okay. Someone else said Sir Alex.
I know, I was thinking Sir Alex.
I simply cannot imagine. Someone else said Gerrard. Just turned it around.
I would rather eat glass than see Steven Gerrard managing.
Do you reckon it's more likely?
He'd sabotage the team. He'd do it Jose.
Do you reckon it's more likely that I manage?
Yeah.
United. Than
genuinely.
Gerrard.
There's zero chance of Steven Gerrard managing Manchester United.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, there'd be riots.
Yeah. Here and in Liverpool.
Yeah. And he wouldn't do it.
Well, he
probably would, you know, because he sat there saying Ronaldo was the GOAT.
Yeah.
Because he's got
call him
scruples, yeah. But I don't think he'd manage United. I don't think he would have him.
3 very good sides there. Mine might be slightly too heavily based in...
Yours is based in lunacy as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, let's have it right. I love Johnny Evans, but he ain't playing for United at 42 years old.
Well, I'm not saying I want him to, no offence. I hope we've replaced him, but I just don't trust us to. Do you know what I mean? I think he'll still be there coming on at the Emirates when we need to win the game. Let's move on to Wally of the Week, shall we?
Yes, okay.
Who's your Wally of the Week?
Can I say, even though it wasn't really, I can't be definitive that it was his fault. Can I just go with Kufal?
What were you blaming on him?
For being there when
Martinez got that injury.
Oh, was it him who fell on him?
Kufal,
I thought it was Souček who fell.
No. Like, I've seen some people online saying, mate, what's wrong with you?
What? What's that? Wait, no, stop it.
Sitting here with Nigel Farage. I thought it was the other one.
I thought it was the other.
Yeah, they don't even look anything like each other. Fuck off.
You clearly got mixed up.
Yeah.
Oh, you're the same.
Do you know why? Do you know what it was? Do you know what it was? I was looking in the eyes of Lissandro Martinez.
You looking at Gerard Bowen?
I was looking in the eyes of Lissandro Martinez, trying to analyse whether he was okay or not. You were looking at the West Ham player, whatever.
I'm going to go with him, just because. In fact, no, can I change my mind?
No. Yeah, you can, Kush can.
You're going to hate me now. I kind of agree with Jamie Carragher. I think Arsenal players are on a hype. Like, they do it all the time with these selfies and post-match celebrations in the middle of the season, and then end up winning 4 corners. It just looks stupid.
But the thing is, they are deluded Arsenal fans to an extent, but it's the way. But they can be so far the other way as well. So like, they get really, really high when they win, and they almost it's this euphoria. But they're so dramatic in that when they lose. Do you know what I mean? So it's like
they don't need that. They don't need that emotion. Like, they need to chill out. Like, have a little bit more.
They lose. They don't win. I think they lose 1 or 2 games out of like 3 or 4, and there's like some fans saying, "Oh, Arteta."
Well, they were trying to sell Martinelli, Saka, and Gabriel Jesus about 6 weeks ago. Do you know when everyone went, they've not scored as many as they had this time last season? They were like, Saka's shit.
Get rid of him.
This is why Saka. Finally, people see that Saka's a disgrace. I'm seeing stuff like he's your academy.
Martinelli's the one.
Martinelli,
the one that they jump on.
They were like, get Martinelli out and get Trossard and all that. It's like they are too emotional.
They literally don't allow their players to have like 1 or 2 bad performances in a row before they get dead dramatic.
So my Wally of the Week would be, I don't know, Odegaard.
I agree with that. I honestly do think, like, and I get it. I know he's just having a bit of a laugh, but that's what you do at the end of the season when you just won the Premier League.
Do you think you'd have seen Roy Keane taking the camera back in the day, taking photos in the middle of the season?
He'd have battered
himself.
It is stupid. And also, it's not like you could maybe say, if like Alexander Arnold did it last season when they're having a bad year. Let's say they've won a big game. Let's say they beat United 7 or whatever. Yeah. Perfect example. They're not doing that well in the league, but he's got a couple of trophies in the cabinet at least. Something where you can go, I'm this guy. I can. Odegaard, what? What's he got? Did he maybe won a title with Real Madrid because he happened to be there when they won it? But he hasn't got anything at Arsenal particularly. He's got an FA Cup. No. Like, you can't. I honestly just think, especially when you saw what happened last season, when I think they got too emotional and it cost him the league. All of this, like, when it's high, Arteta's running down the touchline like he just won the fucking World Cup because you won a game at home
against us for Porto. Yeah, too much, man.
And then when they're losing, he's screaming and calling it a footballing disgrace because the linesman made a mistake. You're like, this isn't good for you. No. And I say that as someone who wants them to win the league because United aren't going to, and I'd rather they did than City or Liverpool.
I would.
And it's not like an anti-Arsenal thing. I just genuinely think being this emotional after every win and every loss is a bad idea.
That's not what they need.
No.
They don't need that. I think it was Gail Clichy saying, it's good to have that connection with the fans. You don't need that. You need a bit more matter of fact that we've won, we move on. So I kind of, even though it pains me, I agree with Jamie Carragher. Go on, Sunshine, who's yours?
Whoever it is that's sanctioned a new thing. Have you seen the state pension age?
71.
71.
I'm not far off that anyway, so it's all gravy for me. Why are you fuming about that?
Because for that I might have to work for 5, 6 years longer.
Yeah, what, that kind of 46 years to go, is it?
But also, do you know how many times it's gone up in the last 46 years? Quite a bit. It won't be 71 by the time you get there. You'll be looking at 81. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I'll be Roy.
46 years ago, was it? 1979.
I'll be Roy Hodgson it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Odegaard, by the way, has won 1 Copa del Rey 5 years ago. That's all he's got to his name. So fucking
taking photos
knuckle
of
down
the
and
staff.
stop taking pictures of the fucking photographer, mate.
Oh, sorry, the photographer, not the ground
anyway,
staff.
Well, it might be the ground staff, I don't even know.
No, you're right. It was his camera, you're right.
I reckon Wally of the Week. Just Van Dijk, innit? It's Van Dijk. I hate Van Dijk. I actually realised over the years I hate him. He's such an arrogant bellend. He's like, oh, you know, like in the interview after that, like just some of the quotes that came out, that came out like, you've had one bad game. Just go, you know, bad game today. This team's got a lot of fight in us. We'll see you next week. He's talking about it like, oh, you know, oh, I'll be back. This isn't what I'm like, and all this absolute shit. Like, shut up. You just made one mistake. It's a very tough day. What was it? As that was the turning point in the match. It's a split decision. I chose to let the ball bounce, try and put my body between it, and Alisson couldn't clear it properly. It hurts, and it hurts for the rest of the team, but especially for me, it was a big turning point. These things have not happened too many times in my career, but I will recover as I learn from things that don't go well. First of all...
Was it Gloria Gaynor?
Yeah, fuck off. These things haven't happened. We get it. You've been a good centre-back. You don't need to talk about the number of mistakes you made and it being a very low number. Yeah. And also, I will recover. Just shut up. You just had a bad game. You made one mistake. You don't have to act like this is some career-defining thing. Just he thinks so highly of himself that he can't bear the idea that he's just had a shit game. It has to be some... I'll get back to... I'm not like this. This isn't me. Shut up. Just had one bad game. You're a dickhead. It does made it, honestly.
I'm fully here for it.
The least amount of like, what's the word when you sort of you put yourself down a little bit?
Self-deprecation.
Yeah, the least self-deprecating person I've ever heard of in my entire life.
I agree. I agree. There's an arrogance there.
Yeah,
there really is. And do mine as well. Listen, we're going to wrap it up there. Big thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring this podcast. Go and check out Ronaldo Brown, Joe Smith, and myself on all your socials. Don't forget as well to hit like, share, and subscribe. We want to get to 750,000 subscribers by the end of the season, and with your support, we'll get there. This has been the Paddock Podcast. Thanks for watching.